Hello Model Railroaders, I'm Dave. Welcome back to the Hobby Room. And what's in the box? Well, let's take a look. Now this is items that I ordered before we moved from Ontario in April, at the end of April, because I wasn't sure if I would have immediate access to anything as far as shipping goes. Though I have found that I can get what I need from Canadian Sculpture Supply, or is it Sculpture Supply Canada? I'm sorry, I can never remember the proper orientation of the wording, but they did say that they could ship out here to Alberta, so that's great. Though some of this stuff I didn't really want to have go through the mail because of volatiles and things like that as far as shipping so far. So we've got this all acquired, and let's dig through the self-dissolving peanuts and see what we got in here. So, peeking through the top, in the triangular top box, let's pull that out, and then we've got a void for all the peanuts to fall into. So, we got some Equinox 40, I guess that's the back. There's our front. Equinox 40 slow set silicone putty. So this is for making molds, though it is a putty. So this is more for something like if I find a really good rock face, but though I can't bring the rock home, I could use this silicone putty to make a rock mold, or a mold of anything else if I so want, but it's really great for vertical surfaces. So that was something that I wanted to try out. So that's something that will end up coming up later. And some other things that I picked up was though I didn't need it, was a 0.5 millimeter replacement needle, because I didn't want to have an accident and bend the needle that I predominantly use in my airbrush and then be without. So I ended up picking up a spare needle along with a spare nozzle that fits the 0.5 millimeter needle. So luckily they had that, and it is Sculpture Supply Canada. So that's the proper naming, Sculpture Supply Canada. Further into the box, what do we got? We've got some Omo 25 silicone rubber. So again, 2 parts. So that will allow me to make my pour molds, which I still have some items that I need to do. Let's make sure that I've got nothing hidden down in the peanuts. What do we got? Some super glue, and I wanted to try their brand of super glue. I do have, though it is not right behind me, somewhere over here, I did try, let's bring these over under the light here. I do have the Instaset and the MaxiCure branding. I can't remember the brand. because these Sunward models have their label over it. But it's a common brand that most hobby shops do carry of the super glue. But I figured I would try these, and there's the 555 and the 855, and one is thin and one is thick on it, so that's gives me a little more super glue to hand if I need it. And Novox gloss. Now, if anybody follows the Craftsman on the Steady Crafting YouTube channel, he's used Novox silicone solvent, and this is where you would thin the Omo 25 using the Novox silicone solvent to make it thinner. But what it will also do is, when you've demolded and the Novox evaporates, it will actually shrink the mold down. So I could say make a mold of a HO sized item, being crates or whatever it could be that I could actually make a mold from, use the Novox as directed, and it would shrink down to a more N-sized final product depending on how much Novox was added to the mix. So something to experiment with. And again, this is something that I wasn't sure. I know I could get it shipped within Ontario, but I wasn't sure about across province, though now I've come to find out that yes, I would have no problem gaining more of that. And digging more through is I picked up a container of Super Seal. Now this is to seal any surface prior to making a silicone mold. And this would say be used on plaster, that if or rock face, if I was doing using the Omo 25 to make a silicone mold, I would first, or would even, I would put on a couple coats of the Super Seal, because that's what it says. 2 coats are required to seal most surfaces. Highly porous models may require more. Shake the container, but the Super Seal will allow me to make a mold, a silicone mold of just about anything, where I don't have to worry about the silicone getting in there. Now, I wasn't sure if I could use something else like a gloss medium and airbrush that on, because some things, if they have sulfur in them, will react to the silicone mold and the mold won't cure properly. So, instead of trying to work around, I just figured I would buy the proper item that will ensure that I've got a good mold if I use that to make it. And digging further through, this is Extendit, and it produces a gas blanket, an inert gas blanket, and that would be used with not the silicone, if I'm remembering correctly. That would be used with the smooth cast. So this is the actual the white liquid plastic, or what will form the the plastic when molds, castings are performed from the silicone mold. I gotta keep the terminology correct. So that would be to extend the life of the A, because the A is very sensitive to moisture. So that's, I've had issues in the past where my A has gone off, and as soon as your A starts going cloudy because it's absorbed moisture, you're done. Like it's just garbage at that point. And that leaves this weird thingy, which is epoxy sculpt. Now this is similar, I'm going to say, to the Milliput, where it's a two-part epoxy what would it be? Epoxy clay, epoxy putty, I guess. Yes, it's epoxy putty that you would mix together in equal amounts by volume or weight, I guess. And then it would form a hard surface once it cures. Now, this could be used to make a hard shell around the outside of the OMO 25 silicone mold, if need be, or, which I'm hoping to use it for, is instead of trying to pour really small amounts of the Smoothcast 310, which the smaller the volume, the more critical your A to B ratio becomes of it not curing properly. If your imbalance is out, and that's just the way it is. If you're dealing with 500 mils, the forgiveness, if you will, of having let's say 5 mils difference between your A and your B, it won't impact it. But if you're making 25 mils or 30 mils, where you're using 15 mils A, 15 mils B, a few mils is going to have a very large impact on how your plastic will actually cure up. That you may have a fail because visually it looked like you had the same amount, but realistically you don't. And some of the small crates and things like that, it's really hard to, you have to be prepared with a lot of other molds, and there's things that I don't want to cast any more of, that I'm hoping that the epoxy sculpt, I can mix this up and force it into the silicone mold on the smaller items and have a successful cast come out. So that's something to play with. But just definitely expanding on what I've got. And again, a great channel to follow is the Craftman. He's definitely puts out an entertaining and interesting content on the Steady Crafting channel, and I'll try and include both him and Barbatus Rex, a link to their websites in the description part below the video. So that pretty much clears it out. Yep, all that's left is peanuts. So I'll let you see. It wasn't something that was cheap. The 380 bucks. It's an expensive hobby, that's for sure. But the Equinox 40, the OMO 25. Again, this isn't the the exact one, because I was initially looking at OMO 30 and decided on OMO 25. This isn't the shipping bill. This is just what I'd done out when I was putting together my list of things which, whether I wanted it or not, and then we added in like the Super Seal, the Novox, and the Extend It on top of everything. So yeah, a little pricey when you're dealing with stuff here in Canada, but you know, that's the way it works. Unfortunately, the one thing I'm really enjoying about Alberta is going from 13% sales tax down to 5% sales tax. So that's still surprises me sometimes when they ring it up and it's, you know, not as expensive as I'm used to. So anyway, that's what was in the box. Definitely some items to work with and expand my casting abilities. So no doubt these will definitely show up in future videos as I learn how to use them. So at this point, I'm going to say bye for now. I hope everyone is staying safe with this new COVID variants floating around. And till the next video, I'm Dave. Bye for now.